Hi guys, and welcome back to another Hearts of Iron 4 beginner's guide. Today we are going to talk about supplies. Now when your units do not have enough supplies, like in this case, they get some massive penalties to the organization and therefore are less effective both defensively and offensively. Having enough supplies is extremely important for any successful push. In order to check your supplies, the supply map mod is extremely helpful. On this map mod, light blue is good and red is bad. So as you can see here we have a lot of supplies and here we do not have supplies. This map mod also shows you all of your supply hubs and the amount of divisions that are supplied by that hub. If you check the enemy territories, you will also see their supply hubs, although you do not get any information about the amount of divisions or anything connected to it. Okay, so in order not to run out of supplies, of course the first rule is not to exceed this number. You don't want to assign too many divisions to the same front. Moreover, the combat width of your division, so the size of your division, will of course impact the amount of supplies they use. So I suggest using relatively small combat width divisions in order to reduce your supply consumption. I usually use 21 or about 21 for my infantry divisions and around 33 for my armored divisions. Now, the effectiveness of your supply hubs is affected by several things. First of all, the quality and level of the railways attached to them, whether you have enough trains to supply them or not, as well as ground condition, infrastructures, motorization priority, the weather. So several things will affect the supplies that are actually getting to your armies. On some of them you don't have much control, on other ones you do. If you click on your supply hub, you have a couple of options here. You can increase the quality of the railways by clicking the upgrade bottlenecks option. If you click here, you will automatically start building railways in the regions in which they are required to maximize the quality of this supply hub. Another very important option concerns the motorization level. By default, this is on level 1, which is this horse icon. And as you can see on the map now, we have some additional information, and you can see that part of it is red. That part is far enough from the supply hub that it doesn't get full supplies from it. If you increase the motorization level to 1 truck and eventually to 2 trucks, you will make sure to fully cover the entire area around the supply hub. This is, however, not free. Increasing to motorized and 2 levels of motorized will require trucks to make this supply hub work efficiently. As you can see now, it's using 80 trucks. If we change back to horses, it doesn't use any truck. If we change it to 1 truck, it uses 40 trucks. So in order to maximize the motorization level, you need to have enough trucks stored in your logistics. You can do this for each supply hub individually, but there is actually a more efficient way of doing so. You can click on your armies and you will see the same icon up here. Motorization priority by default is again level 1, the horse. If you click on it, it will go to level 2. If you click on it again, it will go to level 3. So maximum motorization priority. If you do it on the army, the game will automatically increase the motorization priority of the supply hubs connected to that army. If you want to increase the motorization priority of all of the armies assigned to a marshal, you can directly click on the marshal and change the motorization priority on him. By bringing it to level 3 here, we automatically increase the motorization priority of all of the armies assigned to him, and therefore all of the supply hubs connected to those armies. Now, of course, this will be very intensive in terms of trucks requirement. So if I continue the game a little bit, as you can see, we don't have enough trucks now for all of these supply hubs. So when this is the situation, the best thing to do is probably to keep the motorization priority standard on your marshal and increase it on the army you care about the most. In my case, it will be these armored divisions, which I will use for my push against Poland. So I will go and select them and increase the motorization priority to maximum. Now, if we check my Panzer division, which I plan to use against Poland, we will see that most of them have enough supplies. The supply status is 100% and they have a decent amount of supplies stored. Ideally, you want 150%, which is the maximum. Some of them have 150%, but this one only has 96% supplies. So what happens when we increase the motorization priority to maximum is that slowly, need to give the game some time to adapt, but slowly the supply status will start increasing again. As you can see, it's going up now, 98%, 99%, 100, and now the stored supplies are also increasing, and eventually they will reach 150%, which is the maximum. To recap, it's very important to have max supplies on your armies before you start pushing the enemies, especially on the army that you plan to use for the actual push. One last thing, when you plan your push against your enemies, try to get their supply hubs as fast as possible, because when you push into enemy territories, you will get further away from your supply hubs, and if you do not conquer any supply hubs on the enemy side, you will run out of supplies much faster, and you will not be able to do much about it, because you need access to supply hubs in order to supply your armies. Now in this case, Poland is pretty well supplied, and of course with our tanks we'll try to prioritize this supply hub, this one, the one in Krakow. Okay, now I will start my offensive and we'll see what happens with the supply hubs we conquer. Okay, as you can see, we conquered the supply hub here, but it is not available yet, and that is because it takes a little bit for it to connect to your existing supply hub network. In a few days, the supply hub will become active and the tanks near it will start getting more supplies. As you can see now, the supply hub is active and this area became entirely blue, which means we now have enough supplies around here. Now, sometimes it happens that the supply hub is not connected to a railway system next to your supply hubs. In that case, you may need to manually build a railway connecting them. So in that case, you would go here and say, now in this case, we want to connect this supply hub to our existing supply hub, say this one. So we would click like this, and this will create a network between the two supply hubs. Okay, that's all for today's guide. Of course, the most experienced players out there already knew about this, but I hope somebody can benefit from this guide. If you did, please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.